Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Diamond McCree player on console. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out quite a bit. We're pushing hard for that 1,000 subscriber breakpoint. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of events we have coming up, including the internal scrims we will be doing on Sunday, all that good stuff. So here we are with our Diamond Console McCree.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bastion, you have a Mercy Bap, and a Brawly tank line.
Enemy contact.
Okay, if they're Brawl, this is okay. One, two. Hey, there's a Zarya. Okay, it's a common McCree issue. It's a common McCree issue. It's not common that on the, second shot I get to talk about it, but this costs you uptime. McCree is very much a I have to be puking damage hero. Like, you have to do lots and lots of damage with McCree. He's slow. You can't add to his slowness by just mixing in reloads because you feel like it. You can reload when you're behind cover. Reloading when you're behind cover, great if you have a reason to be behind cover. If you took damage, you need to get healed back up. Oh, someone's got a sight line, they've got a beat on you, you need to go behind cover. Sure, fine. Or you can reload when you spend 6 shots. Or you can reload if everyone leaves and you expect them to stay left from your line of sight for the entire duration of your reload. You can't reload here. You can't reload. You closed the angle on the Reinhardt, but of course there was going to be more stuff here for you to shoot at. You never expected that, oh, there won't be any targets for me to shoot at for the duration of my reload. So this reload is wrong because you're doing it to 2 shots, but even if you were to do it, why are you here rather than over here with the angle closed while you're doing your reload? This is not okay. This is not okay. Hey, blah. We're just criticizing McCree's and their inability to reload properly. Better. Just so you don't think it was a one-time thing. It's a 2 ammo reload when there was a weak Reinhardt. There was a weak Reinhardt that you could have been taking down here. There's a Zarya that's at half that you could be shooting at. This isn't great. This is not great. I also don't particularly like that you've been playing from here the whole time. This was okay. You had the option to pick here. Playing back here, you're open to multiple lanes. They can shoot you from here, and you're interested in shooting here. If you're tucked a bit more over here, you're only interested in shooting here, and no one else can shoot at you if you're tucked on this side of this plane. If you're tucked up here on this side of this plane, you can shoot at them, and you're not interested in shooting at them. You don't want to be vulnerable to multiple lanes at once. You want cover that works against one or both of them, and you want to only be exposed to one lane of fire at once because you can only shoot down one lane of fire at once. If you're here, you can pick to be here. If you're here, you can go, hey, I've got this as cover against the Zarya or whatever threat here, and I can shoot here. Here, you're so far away. You're so far away from cover against these different directions. Again, okay, how are you going to get that personal bubble out of Zarya? Because she's going to melt you if you don't immediately get it out of her.
Hold up now.
Excuse me? Excuse me? You're not thinking at all like a duelist. Yeah, this Zarya has personal bubble. She just didn't press it. You just used... No! No! It was so incredibly predictable that one of your first moves was going to be a flashbang here. And Zarya can also reactively to your hand moving, to your left hand moving, or to seeing the projectile in the air can reactively personal bubble. You need to get the personal bubble out first. Like if it's a life orb elimination thing, yeah, okay, better to throw it than to just go down and that maybe she'll mess up and you won't get it. But if you're wanting to play in Diamond and above, and this is a Diamond game, you can't just be like, maybe I'll be faster than her and she won't pop her personal bubble. Sure, maybe, if you're here and she's not looking at you. If you're here and she's not looking at you, when she's looking at you clearly in a, you are the person I'm looking at, you are the person that I'm fighting, why do you expect this to work? Why? I'm disappointed that you weren't punished for that. And again, there's not a huge rush. Like, this Zarya will melt you and will melt you relatively quickly, but Mercy is paying attention to you.
Hold up.
Oh, don't act like you don't love those VODs, blah. But yes, it looks like it's going to be one of those VODs. Okay.
Don't move.
So this was better. And do we know... one second. Okay. Here we are.
Supply.
This Zarya is credibly but distracted, is not looking at you. There's a reasonable chance that your flashbang will actually get off here because this Zarya is definitely going to be looking, well, you can see based on their beam that they're looking at your Mercy. So much more reasonable to flash them in this situation. And maybe you saw that they used their personal. They didn't. Fine. You don't really get to... Okay, now you can push him in front.
You
Okay.
should be at peak performance levels.
Mm-hmm.
Signs never hit.
That'll be
That was nice of that May to just give you high ground, which you didn't want. Okay, that makes me sad. Reload. Yes, Dragon, that is correct. You need to... Good. Reaper just wasted Wraith. Beautiful. Now you'll be able to flash him when Wraith is over.
Hold up now.
Okay. Okay. They're only diamond. It's on console. It's okay, Temporal. You can... So... I'm not going to say you can't on-site instantly flash because sometimes you will get lucky with it like you did on that Zarya. Sometimes you'll do it and catch a tracer. Sometimes it'll happen and it'll work. But I promise you the higher level game is around forcing the cooldown first, forcing the recall first, forcing a blink or two first, forcing the personal bubble first, forcing the Wraith first. And this Reaper just surrendered to you. He was so afraid of your flashbang that he immediately Wraithed. Which is like, oh, sweet, I win. That means you win, and you just threw it away because you actually did the thing that he was thinking that you might do, that he was so afraid of, which was instantly Wraith here. Like, maybe he watched you instantly flash twice on the Zarya, and that's why he knew to do this here. Probably not, but maybe. You don't want to instantly flash people. You want to force their defensive or see that they've spent their defensive first. Otherwise, you're going to start flashing ice blocks, wraiths, personal bubbles, recalls, Rhine shields. Like, these people, they know how the game works. They know that that's your move. That's your move, McCree. They know that. This should have been free. This should have been a free Mercy boosted fan the hammer into the Reaper as soon as this Wraith is over.
Hold up now.
Are you rolling closer to a Reaper? Yes. Yes, you are. I wonder why that didn't go well. I mean, you were always going to be in trouble, but your roll should have been over to here.
You look like you've seen it go.
This flashbang is not calculated at all. Just settle down. Settle into your shot. You can hit that Ana, I promise. Just pause for a moment. Like, it doesn't have to be oh, I'm going to stay still for like 3 seconds to regain my composure. It's just a mental little break. So instead of maximum fire rate, you just take a mental little break for a fraction of a second. A half second is fine. Take a half second, an extra half second to calm yourself down, to just sort of almost take your hands off the keyboard. You're not actually going to do that, but you're mentally going to take your hands off the keyboard for half a second, and then you're going to go back to firing shots. If you miss 3 shots in a row or the like on what should be an easy target at that range on the Ana. Ready for the flash, guys? Ready? Just makes me sad. It's not wrong there. I mean, the Lucio wasn't properly counterplaying you, and he's not good enough to properly counterplay you. He needed to be coming off walls and such so that when you flashed him, he still carried some of his momentum and you couldn't hit your follow-up shot, but such is life. Did I misspell silver? No, I think it's just console, unfortunately. Which is not a knock on console. Console play can be okay. I mean, it's not going to be as high level as PC play. The inputs are different. The level of organization, the stuff behind the community behind it just isn't going to be as big and well organized. But this has been a little sad. Little sad. That's okay. It's gonna get better. Good. And you reload. He's letting you reload while wraithing. Beautiful. I'm not sure why you spent your roll, but okay. Okay. I'd have liked you to shoot her to make sure she didn't have ice block. You only have one move! You only have one move! You don't need that reload. Unless you're wanting to do that. And I am not at all against the fan the hammer thing. Like, flash fan the hammer, totally fine. It's effective. You can do it. You do not need to line up the headshot against these Lugios. That is not why I'm complaining. Why I'm complaining is that it's all you got. You don't have any sort of, your mid-range poke is a little bit disappointing at this point. You're really, really predictable on that flash. The Lucio is probably not going to beat you at this level just because Lucios, even in Diamond, aren't really good enough at their wall riding to make it super punishing to you, though sometimes he'll get you. But some of these other heroes I expect in Diamond, even on console, maybe wrongly, to be punishing you for these early flashbangs with ice blocks, with wraiths, with Zarya bubbles, with recalls. And I'm really hoping that they'll punish you because it's one of the best ways for you to learn is to get punished for it. Okay, so this Tracer doesn't have recall. That's good. That's critical information for you. Good. Beautiful. I'm not sure why you rolled. Okay, so this Tracer is probably missing recall for another second or two, and it looks like just used 2 blinks, so you can flash this if you want. Never mind, had recall back. I mistimed it. I thought you probably had about a second left before they got recall back. I'm curious how far I was off by. Let's actually find out how far off I was. Did they literally press recall right as they got it? Yes. Okay, that makes me feel better at least. 2 seconds on recall. 1 second on recall. Literally presses the button right as they get it. So, okay. Go around high ground. It's fine. You have the Mercy. You're going to get the boosted Deadeye. You can't just ignore that, though. Give up the second tick. Give up the second tick. Take care of the Reaper. You have the Mercy boost, or you had the Mercy boost, and then High Noon over the point. It's beautiful. Please don't.
It's high noon.
It's okay that you didn't notice this, though the fact that your Mercy isn't with you anymore might have been a sign. It's not okay that you missed this. This was here, this was obvious on the screen, and you hear the teleporting noise. Mm-hmm.
The pain.
It'll take more than
This
that.
was a turnable fight. High ground. Please go high ground. Please go high ground.
New defense point. Objective B.
Ta-da! And you're in McCree range. And Reaper can't get at you easily, and Anna can't get at you, and Zarya can't get at you easily, and Ball has to use cooldowns to get up to you, or has to take this pathing to get up to you, and you can flash him when he tries to jump across, and Anna has to shoot up at you, and Lucio has to wall ride, and you get high ground to shoot down at people, gives you better angle for headshots, gives you the ability to deny damage whenever you want, to almost unilaterally control whether there's cover involved or not. It's great. And I'm not saying like back here where you are out of your fall off range for the front of point or for the front of the choke there. I'm saying here you can do good damage here, you can do good damage here, and these are both places that the attackers like to come from. So please stand here. Thank you. Thank you, Blah. Thank you.
Easy. You best head for the hills.
Why did we?
I'm on fire.
Our Bastion was fine. Why did we even flash that? Whatever. I really don't like this roll, by the way. You've had a couple of these. When you're rolling, it should either be because you specifically need the reload to keep your uptime going, or it should be to get out of trouble, get back to cover, and all that jazz. I don't want you, when you're in safe space, in cover like this, to be rolling, unless it's part of like a I'm rolling into the Reinhardt to flash him and fan him type thing. This was a movement roll. You rolled before there was the Lucio here for you to deal with. You were just rolling to transition. We don't want that. You can roll to get out, but you don't roll to set up your flanks, because unless you're sure that the fight isn't happening and that no one is going to find you before you have your roll back, because you're not very mobile as McCree, and giving up the little bit of mobility you have with roll without the uptime increase in terms of a bullet return, not worth. I mean, this is really better for her effective range than yours, but you're locking her down, so I'm good with it. Okay. I know you don't have any health, but like, no range check, just turn throw. Turn throw. No considering of how far away he... Oh, okay.
Enemy seen.
At this point, I'm half expecting you to like troll me and go 180 fake, 180 just to make them expect that you're going to throw your flashbang, on 180, then 180 again and flash him and catch him. Like at this point,
Seen the light. Now, hold up.
okay. Beating a dead horse tomorrow. Tracer's shooting at you. Turn! You have 5 shots. You do not need to reload here. You are giving the Tracer permission to empty the entire remainder of her clip without having to move, with 100% stable aim into you right now because of this 5 ammo reload. Fortunately, she expected that you were not going to be reloading and you were instead going to flick up to aim at her. So she didn't take advantage of that. Now she's in here, and she's there, and you know she did just use a blink to get here. But if she was fighting you from here, she was probably here for a second or two. She probably has full blinks and recall. We can confirm this, but I don't care. She has no blinks. She hadn't been there for a moment. Oh, she has no blinks now because now she's blinked out again. So that's because it rolled forward when I jumped to Tracer. So she actually had, after blinking over to here, one blink and recall. You generally need to expect that you need to force recall and you need to force a blink or two or see a blink or two before you can expect a flash to land in the McCree versus Tracer matchup unless you catch her unawares. Unawares does not mean, aha, I surprised you with my flash, though occasionally you'll get lucky like that. Unawares means she's fighting someone else, she's not looking at me, she can't see me, and therefore she's not aware to dodge my flashbang. No, you do not get to throw this flashbang.
Now, hold on.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Heroes never die.
Okay. You're here. You finished your reload, you hit your flash. I don't particularly even like this flash because there's so much temporary HP in effect. Like, you do need to get an elimination with your flash just with the situation on the board on the point right now. And I get it. I'd rather you flash and shoot at him than just go down while holding your flash, and you will get this flash off. But you're just going to burn through a bunch of temporary health. I would really, if you can, prefer that you hold such a powerful ability until some or all of that temporary health is gone so that you can do some more real damage to this. Because this is beat.
Don't move.
Okay. Okay.
Much
Fight your way back. You do have to fight your way back.
It'll take more than that.
I noticed. I noticed, Blah. That was good. You were patient about that reload. That was not. You're rolling through what is a safe space where there aren't any opponents to set up a flank. Okay. So, shooting at the Zen is fine, but the Zen had cover options this entire time. He could go here. You couldn't. You had nothing. You had nothing. You were a pure, I am going to out-aim him. If I was this Zen, I'd be like, yeah, you have fun out-aiming me, buddy. I'm going to charge up 5 orbs and just peek to throw them. I'm going to charge up 5 orbs and just peek to throw them. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to stand in the open and strafe to dodge your 5 orbs. I'll put my money on the Zen. I don't mind that you tried to stay in this fight because the Zen was low health. You had a buddy up here distracting him. But I want you to think about, is there somewhere I can transition? Should I transition to here where I've got a little bit of cover? Should I transition back, even though it makes it further range where I've got a little bit of cover? Should I drop down to here and play where I've got a little bit of cover? These are all good questions. The right answer is not here, though. I will tell you that much. Really, the right answer was here. This was the right answer, for those of you that were wondering. Did we just roll into the open? And then reload with 4 shots after rolling into the open? Okay, we did. We rolled into the open to chase an adaptive shield. Not quite into the open. Almost into the open to chase an adaptive shield ball. That is definitely going to get away. We reloaded before we turned to see if there was actually a threat here that we needed to shoot at. Which meant if there had been, we wouldn't have been able to shoot at it until our reload was over. Is roll going to help you catch Soldier? Soldier has legs. Soldier has legs, super legs. You're not going to do it.
Oh, that'll do fine.
60 seconds remaining.
Good.
Now, hold on.
Damage increased.
You're fully healed.
Healing stream engaged.
I mean, yeah, this is what was always going to happen, and that's good, but we didn't need to roll for it. One shot reload.
I could use some assistance.
You just want to challenge him in open.
Enemy C.
You got him. That's nice. Okay. I like the aim. You know, that was good. I don't necessarily like the decision making, the fighting in the open, but I like the aim.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm done with these flashbangs. These flashbangs.
30 seconds remaining.
Lock down and we win.
You keep doing these reloads because you want this flash play so bad. Okay, you have the mercy. I know it's scary, but you have the mercy. You definitely didn't need that reload. You could have just kept shooting at this ball.
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
Better roll.
Remaining.
Okay. You can flash this. You have 6 shots. You have a mercy. You can flash this. Good. Less good. That reload. You sort of drifted into that grab. You didn't have to. Oh no. Oh no.
Never die.
Back into the mix. Rest in peace.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
Biggest issue by far is your flashbang usage. You need to understand that flashbang is not just a, aha, I stun you when people are paying attention to you. Flashbang is for winning duels, absolutely, and you can use it in a, I snuck up on someone, I flanked them, I surprised them, or we're in the middle of a messy battle, and I'm flashing someone that's not looking at me to score a quick 100-0, great. Those are good uses of flashbang. But we do not use flashbang just when someone jumps on us, where when someone shows up in our face, our immediate reaction should not be to flashbang. Our immediate reaction should be our weapon play. We take shots at them. We use left clicks to force them to duel us. McCree is actually a pretty good duelist. You force them to duel you, and you start forcing out things like blinks, personal bubble, those sorts of things. And then, Wraith, Ice Block, and then once those are out, it's free. Your flashbang is free, and you can flash double headshot, you can flash fan. I don't really care at that point. But you don't want to just instinctively flash. You are way too loose with your flashbang usage, and the only time you want to be that loose with your flashbang usage is when you're sneaking up on people, like, aha, they're here, and aha, I walk in behind them and I flash the soldier and eliminate him. Or when you're just in a messy fight on point that's going on for a while, and there's a tracer, but the tracer is shooting at your Ana and can't see you, even though you're both in the same fight in the open. The tracer's clearly looking at your Ana, and you go, I'm going to pivot because I was shooting at this ball. Let me pivot, flash the tracer, and eliminate the tracer. Those are both, hey, I can be very loose, as I'll call it, with my flashbang usage. You want to be much more stingy with your flash. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm holding on to my cooldown tightly. You can't have it. You can't have my flash. I'm going to have already beat you before I flash. That's how you want to be thinking about your flashbang in the one-on-one situations, or in the situations against people that have defensive cooldowns, when it's mostly a one-on-one. I don't care if it's actually a two-on-two, 1v2, like those things don't matter to me, but if it is sort of looking like they're looking at you, you're looking at them, if it's a duel, even if it's within the context of a team fight, I don't want you just popping your flash on people. And then the second biggest thing we've seen so far is the reloads. You got to get those reloads under control. They are costing you damage. You have a separate reload thing that's tied to you're so attached to your flash fan the hammer that you're constantly wanting to reload to have a full fan the hammer. And that you'll live with until you feel more confident in your headshots. But you have a more general, even when you're playing at mid-range, reload issue. You didn't need that. That one's okay. High ground's fine. That roll.
I've got unfinished business. That'll get it done.
Leave. You don't want this? You don't want this? Conceptually, that was the right idea. The Reinhardt was clearly focused on someone else, so your flash had a decent probability of working. The bubble just happened to come at that moment, so I'm okay. No, don't fight through the bob. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it! You were always more likely to stagger yourself there than to get work done. There were more of them than there were of you. It's that simple sometimes.
Well, now.
Helden sterben nicht.
Let your tanks push. Don't do this. Don't do this. Good. Now, 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 now. Good. Except the roll, but other than that, good. See how much easier that was? Like, your tank was ball, not Reinhardt, not Orisa. Your tank was ball, and you can see your ball through the walls, and when your ball was going across this lane, you had all the freedom in the world to transition through this contested space. That ball was doing exactly what he's supposed to do in terms of how ball tanks. You then didn't need to use your roll in here, but you did to try to get back into the fight faster, and that's okay that you wanted to be in the fight, wanted to be shooting over here. I would have preferred you not use your roll. I would have preferred that you just, if you wanted to be in the fight, once you were in here, doubled back and shot this way. Or if you want, no, this was just to let me transition, which by the way it was, that ball wasn't serious about getting stuff there. You then transition up to here, and then on your ball's next pass, you're ready, and you go, now I'm going to take advantage of my ball going through to actually fish for eliminations.
It's high noon.
Yeah, I don't know how you expect this to work. I don't know about you, but I don't expect to win 1v3s, even with my ult. Especially if I know that I haven't forced any specific cooldowns out of them, like Heal Station, like Lamp, like Helix Rocket. If you knew they didn't have Lamp, maybe you go for this play, but you have no reason to believe that they don't have Lamp. Hint, they have Lamp. So you need to time your... You want to time your peaks, you want to time your engagements, and you want to time your ults for when your team is a credible threat. If you were here, this would actually be totally fine because your team is a credible threat. Mercy's here, Ball's here, Reaper's maybe thinking about being relevant. Zarya's throwing. So if you were standing right here and you popped this high noon, I'd be like, yeah, respectable high noon. I'd prefer you just take shots, but I'd be like, hey, respectable high noon. These guys are occupied by your team. This? You're just hoping raw surprise factor that their reactions are going to be slow? No. You need more than that. You can't just count on slow reactions. You need something to encourage their reactions to be slower, like your team being a distraction. Pretty much almost exclusively your team being a distraction. Leave. Oh boy.
Heroes never die.
So what your ult effectively accomplished is it helped your team rotate in a little bit, and that's not a great use of an ult.
Fire at will.
Okay. It's okay, guys. We only used 4 ults to win this team fight. High noon to rotate in. Grab should have been enough to win it from there. Then we popped beat to be sure and Valk. Oof. Oof.
Check this out.
Healing stream
This is gonna make you feel better.
Thank you. 60 seconds remaining.
You're welcome.
I'm on fire.
I'm on fire.
Objective A captured. New defense point.
Mm-hmm.
Objective B.
Okay. Done. Okay.
Oh, that'll do. Fine.
Unfortunate. Now you're done. You're done. You soaked your barrier time. Is your ball really going? Okay, you push if your ball's really going. Okay, this is a rotation. You want to take high ground. Your tanks and Mercy are going left. You use this time to take high ground. Good! That Ashe has got a bead on you. Be very careful. Probably need to drop for Mega. It sucks, but you probably need to. Okay, you could try to... No, stop challenging the Ashe. You could maybe have tried to peek over here to get your Mercy to be able to see you. Like, go here and then jump or something to try to get your Mercy to see you. But I don't think you wanted to... I know you didn't want to challenge. The Ashe has been paying attention to you all game since she swapped to Ashe and has a window sightline on you right now. I don't know why it's over here. She's saying understood as in I give up on you. There we go.
Peak performance level.
Good. Don't know that you had to reload there. You actually just wanted to fan again. If you're just trying to break the barrier, which is effectively what you had to do there, you just want to fan again.
Helden sterben nicht.
Yeah, they adjust slightly as you go up. And I notice bigger differences. I mean, this is console, so it's changing things a little bit, but I do notice differences in games I'm reviewing as you go up. In terms of the level of play, in terms of the level of coordination. There's stuff there. It's very rare, for example, that you see a diamond team or even a plat team really struggle against a bastion. Really struggle against a simple bastion, a bastion on the cart type strategy. They'll struggle against smart bastions. That's why you'll get bastions in GM. But it's rare to see a diamond team, for example, struggle against a bastion, whereas silver teams will 80% of the time plus pull their hair out.
Back in the saddle again.
Okay. You haven't earned this space. Your Zarya isn't here. You haven't earned this space. You can't just push up mid. You're too far from cover. Now you have cover. Good.
Thank you kindly.
Okay. You just went down another one? Like, please stop pushing. What are you doing? Why do you think you deserve this? You were effectively down 2 and trying to push into 6 people, not quite by yourself because Lucio was in, but into like a 2 now 3v6 situation. It's actually a 4v6 if your other people want to help you, but I'm not convinced they do, and there's no reason that they should want to help you because there's no reason to push right now. This is 2 CP. You're not going to win. You're not going to finish the map while you're down people. You don't start pushes on 2 CP while people are missing. Your Zarya is just now getting back, and your Ash went down within a couple seconds. You're simply not going to be ready to push. And you're thinking, oh, but I'm going to get a pick so that when Ash shows up, we have a couple second lead. Well, maybe, but simply by the simple process that there's more of them alive and active than there are of you right now, you peeking means they're more likely to get a pick than vice versa. They have 6 sets of eyeballs that get to contribute to this pre-poke phase, poke phase. You have 4 sets, 5 sets, 3 sets, 2 sets. It was 2 a second ago. Now it looks like it's 3. It could be 4, and in a second it'll be 5. But just because they have more eyeballs to commit to the poke phase right now, they're more likely, just as a simple math thing, to get a pick than you are. So why do that? Because if they get a pick, someone will get staggered, and then you'll have to wait again. And if you keep doing it, someone else is more likely to get staggered than you guys are to get a pick. So just don't give them good sight lines unless you have a real good surprise angle on them or something. Like if they're all shooting at your Lucio and you have this surprise angle because they're all looking at your Lucio, sure, open the angle, take it, maybe you'll get a quick pick. But don't just do the standard fair stuff because the standard fair stuff is way more likely to get, no, it's not way more likely, but it is more likely to get you picked than them. And you don't have to fight to earn this space yet. You can just wait and then push up. But you're going to have an easy time taking the space. You guys have a Reinhardt. Your Ashe is all the way back here. Your Zarya is just getting to here. Your Reinhardt's not really relevant yet either. You can throw a Fire Strike at this distance. Their entire team is relevant. Even their Reinhardt, because their Zarya gets to throw right clicks at you from behind their Reinhardt. Their whole team is relevant. Two of you are relevant. Maybe 3. Your Reinhardt could throw a Fire Strike. No. Don't do this. This is early. Okay. Disappointing. No reason to get hit by that Fire Strike. Are you okay? He's bubbled, so he might be okay. But you would think about going up here to protect this because he knows that if he tries to swing at your Reinhardt, you can flash him. So like you can think about protecting this, but he has the bubble, so I understand it. I'd have greatly preferred you did this from high ground, but hey, we'll take it. Okay, so the big things for you to focus on have not changed. The first thing that we're looking at is you absolutely need to get a better handle on your... We talked about some other things in terms of your engagement timing, your ult timing. We talked about your roll usage, when you're using rolls a lot, when you're behind cover, just for movement to set up. That's wrong. But the 2 things I want you to focus on one at a time are, first, I want you to focus on getting better control of your flashbang. You just use it at the drop of a hat right now, and you will get punished for that against better opponents. I'm a little surprised that you're not getting punished harder for that yet, but you will get punished by that for harder opponents. When you're caught in 1v1, even if it's a 1v1 within a bigger battle, when you get caught in situations where you're shooting at someone at close range that is also aware of and shooting at you, you can't just immediately flash them if they have something that can deal with the flash. Personal, recall, Ice Block, Wraith, those Fortify, those are all things that can do it. You need to force that cooldown first, and you force that cooldown with accurate shots. You duel them a little to force out the defensive, and then you win. That's what you're looking to do. Every once in a while, you can just get lucky, and every once in a while, you can throw a change ball and just surprise someone with a flash. That's fine. But when you're in these 1v1 type situations, when you're in these mini battles within greater battles, that's not what you want to do. And again, I am not saying that you can't go, hey, my team is fighting from this direction, and I've taken a flank, and I'm going to walk up behind McCree and flash him and eliminate him before he's even aware of me. Totally fine. Or we're fighting on the point and it's this messy battle, etc. And we're fighting and we're doing all this, and I'm going to turn from shooting at this ball that I'm shooting at that's on the other side of the point, and I'm going to flash and eliminate this Lucio that thought he was fighting, I don't know, a tracer. That's totally fine too. But these, when they're paying attention to you and you're in sort of a duel of sorts, you gotta be force the defensive cooldown before you use the flash if they're a hero that has defensive cooldowns. The other thing is you have to watch your reloads. The reloads are costing you too much. Some of your reloads are because you're specifically setting up your flash, and I'll live with those until you're more confident in your flash headshot as opposed to flash fan stuff. But you're doing lots of mid-range reloads that are costing you uptime. I called out 3 or 4 of them right at the start of the match. I called out a few more on the way through. Those lose you uptime, and you need that uptime with McCree. McCree needs to be puking damage. Yes, you can go for rotations. Yes, you can go for flanks on McCree. We try to do those before the fight because McCree is so slow and he needs his uptime. So please, please, please get your reloads under control, but start with the flashbangs. And how you're going to improve is you're going to go, hey, I'm working on my flashbangs. I'm conscious about playing against these heroes that have defensive cooldowns that I need to force. It's taking up 5-10% of my brain power as I'm playing the game to be thinking about how I use my flashbang. That's what I'm doing. Even if it makes you play worse, which it probably will for a bit, that's okay because after 10 games, 5 games, 30 games, 50 games, it's going to cement in your brain as a new habit, this new way of doing it. And then when you move on to focusing on something else, in this case, I talked about rolls. In this case, reloads, which will be a harder one to fix, by the way, than flashbangs. It's going to be, oh, okay, well, now my flashbangs don't get much worse when I stop paying attention to them because I've cemented them. I've made it a habit to do it the right way. But we need to start working on that habit, and we need to be thinking about it while we're developing the habit. Okay, I hope that helps. If you guys have questions, you can throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out quite a bit. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of events we have coming up. In fact, on Sunday, and you can see this in the Discord, we are set up to do internal scrims. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So go check out the timing for that there, and I hope to see many of you there. Okay, questions-wise, do we have stuff? They'll struggle against bastions that I have coached, but not the normal bastion. What Temporal is trying to say. I don't think I was trying to say it. I think I said it quite clearly, Blah. You got the message. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to just take natural cover against Bastion. I think, well, for some of them it is hard, but I think for most of them it's they haven't figured out how to path in. They haven't figured out how to transition because I'll even run into Grandmaster teams that are just really messy in rotations, where they're spread, they're not tight, they don't do things, and therefore they have a really tough time not closing on Bastion. They can handle that, but they have another really tough time closing on good poke teams. And Bastion will make a bad poke team pretty good, so if the other team has messy rotations, doesn't know how to create short sight lines, doesn't know how to rotate in closely while being open space for very limited amounts of time, they can get into trouble. Because they're used to, oh, I'll just stand in the open and people can't hit me type stuff. And Bastion doesn't, he has to hit you, but he fires so many shots per moment that he'll get you. Question. Is the choice of Ball Zarya here against Reinhardt Zarya a bad choice? Waiting for the cue. Okay. So is the choice of Ball Zarya here against Ryan Zarya a bad choice? Ball Zarya isn't the best setup. It's usable. It's certainly a usable setup. It's not my favorite. When they were playing Ball Zarya, looks like they're both on Ryan Zarya at this moment of the clip, but this is a rewind. But no, it's not necessarily bad because you can get decent charge for your ball. I'd say it's harder to synchronize a ball. It's definitely harder, and Zarya's are less experienced at synchronizing with balls and balls at synchronizing with their Zarya's in terms of, oh, I have to stay in and do some weapon mode stuff to get my Zarya energy. Like I need to hit this pile drive early, and I need to stay in and get some weapon mode stuff if the bubble doesn't get used before I roll away. That's something that takes a little more practice. But conceptually, Zarya Ryan versus Zarya Ball, yeah, Ryan Zarya is, I'd say, a little bit better, but Ball can get plenty of stuff done into that in terms of, hey, we're going to knock your Ryan out of the way so that our Ashe and McCree can shoot at your front line. Hey, we're going to go ahead and slam you so that our pile drive behind your Ryan to knock people up that aren't your Ryan so that we can take easy mercy boosted headshots into your Ashe who gets knocked up, your Lucio who gets knocked up. Like there's plenty that this poke setup can do with the ball, and the having the bubble gives your ball more ability to. Ball's not in trouble against either of these comps, but gives your ball more ability to hit that pile drive, to go in, to sustain a bit harder, which can be nice. Not get flashed out of the slam, for example. Ball's probably the hardest tank to learn how to play with. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true, Semitic. But okay. Like I want to say, but everyone plays Diva wrong. But I guess you don't have to learn how to play with the Diva. The Diva's just right or wrong. Um, yeah, if you don't notice what the ball's engagement windows are, you tend to get in trouble, and the ball plays a bit differently. It's only a little harder than Winston, I'd argue, but yes, I'd say that's true. Okay. Okay. Anyway, that's going to do it for the night. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.